It's Wednesday, January 5th, 2021. I had a biopsy yesterday on something that's affecting me from living in this area. So now it's just like the sit and wait for results. I'm thinking when to put on a show not too long ago. I didn't see the whole thing, but it was Pride and Prejudice. It has a very Elizabethan feel to it. It's very classy. I mean, I call it Renaissance, but they say Elizabethan. It's kind of where in my head I live in a time between here and there that I'd rather be living permanently and on a daily basis. But the world messed it all up. So in that innocent whatever, when I look at the corporate image, per se, of the White House, and it comes in a family heirloom way and family estate way of a larger extended family that I may not have ever met yet. When I see things like a non-familiar whatever entering the White House or being spoken of on news media like Obama, it becomes concerning. I don't really know why New York is portrayed as blue. Today there was on something called The View. I didn't sit to watch the whole thing. I don't have the stomach to watch it. Lynn was watching it. It's the world portrayed in this disgusting rebel army manner. There's something wrong with them. There just is. I'm watching this show called The View, and a commercial with Michelle Obama comes on with something called The Movement. And I'm like, oh. And then there's something that preceded that with another rebel army representative who wants to run for governorship. It's another woman. And they were touting that the state of Georgia turned from red to blue. I don't know what that means either. Does that mean like they're brain dead? Or there's no oxygen whatsoever in that state? I mean, I know somewhere there's competing rebel drug lord armies of sorts, is the best way I can explain it. From what I see in New York with all these commercials about fentanyl stuck inside all these street things and these rehabs opening up and needle things, and I'm like, I want to live in a Victorian Pride and Prejudice with Donald Sutherland as my dad. I don't want to live in the news media in the gangs of New York. I don't. But this is where the station let out, and I'm like, where'd Eric Thomas Jefferson go, and why is he taking so long to get to like happily ever after? So that happened. Oh, and you know what else doesn't make sense in this version of New York? there's this thing Lynn and Lou talked about after Benjamin happened, out of out of no arrangement whatsoever, and then it was like, so they said the thing to do is marriage, so that's the thing we did. But it was more like dinner, dance, theater, like Tony and Tina's wedding. It had no purpose or meaning to it whatsoever. Same thing with the other shitbag, Tia Frio. And then there's and then in between there was something I stumbled upon called a domestic partnership with a male, because he moved in and I didn't know how to treat that relationship. So we did something about a domestic partnership, but that was really easy because when it was over, I asked him to leave and he did. And then I went to the town and I just dissolved the domestic partnership. And it was like that. There was no like $40,000 extortion fee from a lawyer because you used the wrong form when you filed the tail that the humans gave you that you didn't want to grow and that wouldn't leave. So that happened. That's a problem. So that's 1975, but there was some form that they used, which actually I thought was a much better option. And then so I don't know what this movement thing is, but it's like really, there's been a whole lot of movements that have been portrayed on television, but like I don't, where is like the Jerry Lewis telethon? Like, where's the complaint department to the extended family representatives? Like, who do you call when you're concerned about what's going on inside either a state or a couple of states away? And who do you call in large extended family with history and roots in the land when you're not being treated right and you've been hurt several times and you can't seem to find an open door in order to give back to the extended family in order to help maintain the family estate? That gets confusing. So that's what was on TV today, is a whole bunch, the mention of some movement, but it wasn't a familial movement. It was rebel movement. And I mean, even on The View, this woman Joy was like congratulating and toting this rebel governorship mention, which again, I don't know what secret societies are backing this. And then I was listening just now, I forgot what day it was, we went to somewhere in the car to pick something up a bit too soon, and they mentioned on the radio about the port system, and while you have a ship captain that takes you from elsewhere to somewhere else, from here to there, once you get somewhere close to California, there's a land captain, pilot, guy, those are the words they used. And then he gets on and helps the captain that took the ship from here to there in open water to the last whatever. They don't call it a co-pilot, but I mean, so that gets confusing because I'm like, how could there be so many claims of these rebel army forces making landfall or pushing in and up on the family members without any success in pushback, and for it to take a turn for even worse within a generation for lack of, jobs and all sorts of things. I mean, it feels, it's not supposed to feel this way, but it feels like there's massive chaos. And then when I think about it as like, then Lou's watching something about someone who channels something else, and it's a mother who was pre-planned and she wasn't supposed to have children, and instead these other things were coming back as her animals. And I'm like, Lou, I'm a patient person and I'm able to expand myself beyond reasonable whatever in with amongst this population of humanity. I was like, but this particular acknowledgement you want me to sit through in the day that I'm sitting in today, it's just a little bit past my comfort zone in allowable understanding or overstanding of the situations that are going on around me. Because then when I was listening to the guy on the radio, he was saying that the ports, everything's based off of something called software and algorithms, and then they've got these robots. It just feels like there's some kind of robot obsession, and it it's almost like some humans have purposely learned how to design more chaos into what was never this chaotic. And somehow they're getting away with it and nobody's shutting them down, and I don't know why that is. And again, I don't exactly have like a extended family member that I'm aware of that I have direct access phone call wise to say, hey, I was sitting quietly by myself about the family business and the safety and future of where my children were birthed, and I have some concerns. So instead I'm just making my concerns on my private whatever, because these are in some form of succession, and there's always that like, well, I don't know what comes next, and it's really scary to think of the path we're on, what I'm picking up, and how it might be interpreted one way or the other. It's that old adage, like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I'm like, I can't be the only one who's noticing these changes. Star 1978, Star 8378, Nicole Cataruza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.